Non-metallic sheathed cable, or NMC, can be used above a lay-in ceiling in an assisted care living facility, provided that specific conditions are met. It is crucial to adhere to the National Electrical Code, or NEC, requirements and other relevant regulations to ensure safety and compliance. NEC Article 300.22c3 states that NMC cables are permitted in other spaces where environmental conditions are suitable. Article 334.10 outlines that NMC cables must be protected from physical damage and must not be exposed to excessive heat. When considering the use of NMC cables in assisted care living facilities, several specific factors must be taken into account. Firstly, review the facility's fire code. The fire code may require the use of fire-resistant cables above lay-in ceilings. Therefore, checking local building codes for specific requirements is essential. Secondly, consider patient safety. NMC cables should not be installed in areas where they may come into contact with patients or staff, ensuring no risk of accidental contact or interference with medical equipment. Thirdly, ensure physical protection. NMC cables installed above ceilings must be secured and protected from potential damage. Cable ties, conduit, or other suitable methods can be used to prevent sagging or accidental disconnection. Fourthly, adequate ventilation is required. The ceiling space should have adequate ventilation to prevent overheating and damage to the NMC cables. This helps maintain the integrity and lifespan of the wiring. Fifthly, maintain accessibility. NMC cables should be installed in a manner that allows for easy access for maintenance and repairs. This is critical for future inspections, troubleshooting, and modifications. To further enhance safety and compliance, several recommended practices should be followed. Firstly, use cable ties or other methods to secure NMC cables to ceiling grid members. This helps prevent sagging and keeps the cables organized. Secondly, avoid running NMC cables parallel to metal structural members to prevent induced currents. Induced currents can lead to overheating and potential fire hazards. Thirdly, use fire-rated cable ties or straps if required by the fire code. This adds an extra layer of protection in case of a fire. Fourthly, label NMC cables clearly for easy identification. Proper labeling makes it easier to trace and identify circuits during maintenance and repairs. By adhering to these recommendations and meeting the NEC requirements, NMC cables can be safely installed above lay-in ceilings in assisted care living facilities. It's also important to consider the types of NMC cables available and their suitability for the specific environment. NMC cables come in various sizes and configurations, each designed for specific applications and load requirements. When selecting NMC cables, ensure they are rated for the appropriate voltage and amperage for the intended circuits. This is crucial for preventing overloads and potential fire hazards. Additionally, consider the ambient temperature rating of the NMC cables. Some NMC cables are designed to withstand higher temperatures than others. If the ceiling space is prone to high temperatures, select NMC cables with a higher temperature rating to ensure they can operate safely and reliably. Furthermore, it's important to properly terminate NMC cables to prevent loose connections and potential electrical hazards. Use approved connectors and follow the manufacturer's instructions for proper termination techniques. Inspect all connections to ensure they are tight and secure. Regular inspections of NMC cable installations are also essential for identifying and addressing any potential issues before they become serious problems. Look for signs of damage, such as cuts, abrasions, or exposed conductors. Also, check for loose connections, sagging cables, and any other conditions that could compromise the safety and reliability of the installation. In addition to the NEC requirements, it's also important to comply with any local building codes and regulations that may apply to NMC cable installations in assisted care living facilities. Local codes may have additional requirements or restrictions that are not covered by the NEC. Always check with the local authorities to ensure full compliance. Another important consideration is the impact of the NMC cable installation on the overall fire safety of the assisted care living facility. Ensure that the installation does not compromise the fire resistance rating of the ceiling assembly. If necessary, use fire-stopping materials to seal any penetrations in the ceiling to maintain its fire resistance integrity. Proper documentation of the NMC cable installation is also crucial for future maintenance and repairs. Keep accurate records of the cable routes, sizes, and ratings. This information will be invaluable for troubleshooting and making future modifications to the electrical system. Moreover, consider the use of surge protection devices to protect sensitive electronic equipment from voltage spikes and surges. Assisted care living facilities often rely on critical electronic equipment, such as medical devices and communication systems. Surge protection can help prevent damage to this equipment and ensure its continued operation. When installing NMC cables, avoid running them through areas where they may be exposed to moisture or chemicals. Moisture and chemicals can damage the insulation and conductors of the NMC cables, leading to electrical shorts and potential fire hazards. If it's necessary to run NMC cables through damp or corrosive environments, use appropriate protection methods such as conduit or waterproof enclosures. It's also important to consider the aesthetic impact of the NMC cable installation. While functionality and safety are the primary concerns, it's also desirable to minimize the visual impact of the cables. Use cable management techniques to keep the cables neat and organized. Consider using cable trays or raceways to conceal the cables and improve the overall appearance of the ceiling space. When working with NMC cables, always follow safe electrical work practices. Wear appropriate personal protective equipment, such as gloves and eye protection. Energize the circuit before working on any electrical components. Use a voltage tester to verify that the circuit is energized before proceeding. Finally, it's important to stay up to date on the latest NEC requirements and industry best practices for NMC cable installations. The electrical code is constantly evolving, and it's essential to stay informed of any changes that may affect your work. Attend training courses and read industry publications to keep your knowledge and skills current. To recap, firstly, ensure compliance with NEC Article 300.22c3 and Article 334.10 regarding suitable environmental conditions and protection from physical damage and heat. Secondly, check the facility's fire code for fire-resistant cable requirements. Thirdly, prioritize patient safety by avoiding contact with patients or staff. Fourthly, provide physical protection using cable ties or conduit. Fifthly, ensure adequate ventilation in the ceiling space. Sixthly, maintain easy accessibility for maintenance and repairs. Seventh, secure NMC cables to ceiling grid members. 8. Prevent induced currents by avoiding parallel runs with metal structures. 9th, use fire-rated cable ties if required. 10th, clearly label NMC cables for identification. Remember to select NMC cables with appropriate voltage, amperage, and temperature ratings. Terminate cables properly and inspect connections regularly. Comply with local building codes and regulations. Protect the fire resistance rating of the ceiling assembly. Maintain accurate documentation of the installation. Consider surge protection for sensitive equipment. Avoid exposure to moisture and chemicals. Minimize the aesthetic impact of the installation. Follow safe electrical work practices. Stay updated on the latest NEC requirements and industry best practices. By carefully considering all of these factors, you can ensure that NMC cables are safely and effectively installed above lay-in ceilings and assisted care living facilities. It's also a good practice to consult with a qualified electrical engineer or inspector to ensure that the installation meets all applicable codes and standards. They can provide valuable insights and guidance to help you avoid potential problems and ensure the safety and reliability of the electrical system. Furthermore, consider the long-term maintenance requirements of the NMC cable installation. Develop a maintenance plan that includes regular inspections, testing, and repairs. This will help identify and address any potential issues before they become serious problems and ensure that the electrical system continues to operate safely and reliably for years to come. In addition to the technical aspects of NMC cable installations, it's also important to consider the human factors. Ensure that all personnel involved in the installation are properly trained and qualified. Provide them with the necessary tools and equipment to perform their work safely and efficiently. Foster a culture of safety and encourage them to report any potential hazards or concerns. Ultimately, the goal is to create a safe and comfortable environment for the residents and staff of the assisted care living facility. By paying attention to detail and following best practices, you can ensure that the NMC cable installation contributes to this goal. Remember that electrical safety is everyone's responsibility. By working together and adhering to the highest standards of safety and quality, we can prevent accidents and ensure the well-being of those who live and work in assisted care living facilities. Always prioritize safety and never take shortcuts. The consequences of electrical accidents can be devastating. By following the guidelines and recommendations outlined above, you can minimize the risk of accidents and create a safe and reliable electrical system. In conclusion, the safe and effective use of NMC cable above lay and ceilings in assisted care living facilities requires careful planning, attention to detail, and adherence to all applicable codes and standards. By considering the technical aspects, human factors, and long-term maintenance requirements, you can ensure that the installation contributes to a safe and comfortable environment for residents and staff. Always prioritize safety and never compromise on quality. The well-being of others depends on it. Remember to consult with qualified professionals and stay up to date on the latest industry best practices. Electrical technology is constantly evolving, and it's essential to stay informed of any changes that may affect your work. By continuously learning and improving, you can ensure that you are providing the highest level of service and expertise. This will help you build trust with your clients and establish yourself as a leader in the field. So go forth and apply your knowledge and skills to create safe and reliable electrical systems that benefit the community. The work you do makes a difference. By paying attention to detail and adhering to the highest standards of quality, you can contribute to a better future for all. Finally, remember that the information provided here is for general guidance only and should not be considered a substitute for professional advice. Always consult with qualified professionals before making any decisions about electrical installations or repairs. They can provide tailored advice based on your specific circumstances and ensure that you are complying with all applicable codes and standards.